Hi, welcome to Talk Back Live, a show that gets you involved in live conversation and sports with Brian Camp on Sports Update, bringing you the latest developments in today's world of sports. And now here's your host, Frank Allan.
Here we are again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant night to each and every one of you in your different time zones around the world and across the country. It's Thursday, it's 8 p.m. on the East Coast, it's 5 p.m. on the West Coast, it's Friday morning. In London, it's 12 midnight, and it's 9 a.m. in Tokyo. Hi, everybody. My name is Frank Allan, and welcome to another edition of Talk Back Live. We're here with you as we are every Thursday. And every Thursday we come along and we invite you in also to be part of the show because it's free exchange and it's open conversation to each and every one of you. Topics are open to everyone. All I have to do is bring out, of course, a topic that you may be interested in, and you can chime in at any time you want. And you can chime in and say, hey, hello, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about that. And we'll be able to do that for you. All you have to do is just type in. I will see you right there on the big screen. I will entertain all of your thoughts, your questions, and your ideas, and we'll get along just fine. So glad to have you aboard with us for this Thursday. And of course, it's another day.
Hi, welcome to Talk Back Live, a show that gets you involved in live conversation and sports with Brian Camp on Sports Update, bringing you the latest developments in today's world of sports. And now here's your host, Frank Allan.
And so you can check us out. We're always here on YouTube, and Facebook, and Instagram as well. We're live on Instagram and YouTube at the moment. Not so much YouTube, not so much Facebook. Okay, we're going to tell you more about that a little later. You know, it's a long story, but I can tell you this. We have 37 days before we go back on the air with Facebook, but we'll get to detail about that a little later on as time goes on. We'll talk more about that. We'll expand on it. But anyway, we're going to be here for the next hour, and coming up sometime this hour, as a matter of fact, not too far away in this particular half hour of the show, Brian Camp will be here with Sports Update. He will bring you the latest developments in today's world of sports. And of course, he has a lot of good news on sports. It's March Madness. Of course, you already know that. He'll talk about that as well. Baseball is back. You already know that. And we're waiting around to see what's happening with that. In our local area in New York, we got the Mets and the Yankees, and pretty soon they'll be up for spring training. And then before you know it, they'll be back in our towns over at Yankee Stadium and City Field to play for fans here locally here in New York. And of course, other baseball teams around the country will get ready to open up. They're getting ready. As a matter of fact, I could see right now, all of the groundkeepers and everyone, they're cleaning up. They're getting things spotless and ready for the fans to come in to enjoy it. So, and I'm looking forward to it. Baseball at its best, the American pastime. Also, we are going to give you what's happening in this day in history. We do that each week as well. And we'll talk about what's happening in history, and we've got a lot of information on that. Not only that, I will also give you also the information about the classic movies that we all enjoy so much. I know you enjoy them, and we have them all from Turner Classic Movies. I have a few that I want to show you. They're my picks. They're always my picks. That doesn't mean they're not more, but I just have my picks for the week, for the weekend, for the week, for the weekend. I picked them for the week, for the weekend. And that's coming up, and I'm pretty sure you're going to like it. We'll talk more about that later. I love doing those classic, giving you the information about classic movies, because I like to be part of your weekend as far as entertainment is concerned. I want to be part of that. And I'm sure you're very resourceful and you can find your own way of entertaining and, other sources and doing all of the things that you do on the weekends. But I just want to be part of that. And that's exactly why I always, each week, throw out all of the classic movies that I bring out each week so that you may be able to enjoy. And I do that for another reason too. And I really hate to say this, guys. It hurts me to say this, But we have, as you already know, we are in the 21st century, and we've got so much TV. There's so much TV. We have so many channels. We've got about 1,000 channels. Some you have to pay for, some come with a package, and then some you get the basic channels, some you get less channels. Nevertheless, it's unlimited. You got a lot of great channels. Some great, yeah, they are. The only thing is, the problem is that with all the channels that we have, again, guys, this is only my opinion. I hate to say this. TV, I don't know what happened to TV, but it kind of went downhill, because there's nothing on TV that really interests me. Now, I may turn on my TV because I'm more into the news, so I'll turn on CNN and maybe one of the local stations in my area to check out the news. And then I'll check out one of the movie channels, but my favorite channel, of course, is Turner Classic Movies. They have all the classic movies. And I find myself surfing, channel surfing, I'd probably be doing more surfing like this than watching. And it got to the point where my thumb, it's hard to move now. I mean, I exercise it so much, sometimes it gets a little crampy, you know. And that's one of the reasons why I do that, because I remember, I hate to expand it because a lot of you may be younger, a lot of you are watching may be younger. And I just want you to try to understand that back in my day when TV started, well, TV, let's start from the beginning. There wasn't always TV. Everyone started with radio. Radio was the thing that started everything going. And with radio, they call it the theater of the mind. You see, because some of the programs that they had back in those days, you couldn't see them, but you could hear them. And you had to use your imagination for whatever they were talking about. You had to use your imagination. And they would, you know, have stories like some of the old soap operas that you might have seen on TV, but they originally started on radio, like The Guiding Light and The Secret Storm and things like that. You may not remember all of those soap operas, but they were the ones that started on radio. And then when TV came into being, they transformed from radio to TV. You know, and it was so many things going on, and people were wondering, okay, so now that TV is in, we're going to dump radio. And so when TV came along, you know, at least where I came from, we weren't a wealthy bunch of people. We didn't have a lot of money. We had a lot of fun, but not a lot of money. And TV must have got introduced, I would say, I'm going to say around 1948. Depending on what you read or what you believe, some goes beyond that, some goes beyond that, some goes way back to about maybe 1928, you know, when they said it originally was introduced then. But when I came here, TV was already on. But the note that I got was 1940, but I'm not going to argue that. 1948, 1928, I don't know. But I do know this. We had black and white TV, but in 1954, color TV was introduced to the public. 1954, color TV was introduced. Now, most of us didn't have color TV, because most of us didn't have that kind of money. So that was more like a rich man's, I guess a rich man's luxury, you see? And so, you know, we settled for that. We settled for that. It was a rich man's luxury. So rich man had color TV, we didn't have it. We had black and white TV. And with the rabbit ears, you know, those of you who are remembering that, we had rabbit ear TV. So whenever we plugged in, we had to turn on the TV. By the way, no remote control, no remote control. Sandy Jordan, a good friend of mine, a marvelous singer, sings jazz. She's on, I see her right there on Instagram. And she's with me, and it's great to see you too, Sandy. I want to get in touch with you as soon as possible, and I will, I promise you that. But Sandy, you can go back in time with me, all right? You can go back in time with me. Remember back in the beginning, we were talking about TV, how it was back in the old days. We had black and white TV. The rich man had the color TV. And when we had the TV, we had the TV with the chassis. Now the chassis, those of you who are younger don't remember this because a lot of you were born in this age where there was no such thing as a chassis TV. You would have to actually get up off the couch. You don't do it today, but back in those days, you had to get up off the couch. And if you want to turn your channel, you have to go and turn it manually. They call it chassis, and you turn it. Just turn it until you find the channel that you want. Now, back in those days, like I said, we didn't have a lot of channels. There were no cable TV channels back in those days. All we had was 7 channels. In most places, there were like 7 channels. And we had channel 2, we had channel 4, we had channel 5, we had channel 7, we had channel 9, and we had channel 11 and channel 13. 7 channels is what we had back then. Now here locally where we are, channel 13 used to be a commercial station until later on in years, they turned to a public station, which is now, it's a public station today. And the other channels, we only had 3 networks, 3 major networks. Can you call them out? ABC, CBS, and NBC. That's all we had. Well, you got networks all over the place today. But that's all we had back in those days. And we were looking forward to our favorite shows that came on. And I got to tell you, we didn't have a lot of channels, but we had great shows on TV. Great shows. I was a Western kind of a guy as a little boy, still today, you know, I like the Westerns. And we used to watch all those great Western movies and Western shows like Maverick and Sugarfoot and all of those. Now, see, I'm going back in time. A lot of you people, again, are younger and may not remember all of these shows, but that's what we had. That's what we had back in those days. 7 channels, rabbit ear TV, and if you had a color TV, that means you had a lot of money back in those days. Now, I remember some people, when I grew up in the 50s and the 60s, I knew some people on the block where I lived. And one of the guys, one of my friends says, you know, hey, I got a color TV, I got a color TV. And I'm thinking to myself, does he really have a color TV? You know, he's not rich. You know, does he really have a color TV? So he said, yeah, come on over, watch some color TV with me. Okay, so I said, okay, fine. I went over to his house, watched the color TV. His color TV was, and this is what they did for an illusion of having a color TV for those who didn't have a color TV, but they wanted the illusion to be watching in color. I don't know if you guys remember this, but they used to have these transparent color sheets, that you can paste on your screen. And that was his color TV. That was the illusion of the color TV back in those days. But listen, we had a lot of fun. Any way you wanted it, you could do it. Now today, everyone has color TV. Every American has color TV. When people were starting to buy color TV and it started becoming affordable to all Americans, they were still selling black and white TVs as well at the same time. I remember back in the 60s. And they had those little TVs come in different sizes, but they had the TV, the black and whites and the color, and you can buy either one. Today, no black and white, unless of course you have one of those vintage black and white TVs that may possibly be working for you. You know, that may be possibly be working for you. And if it is, well, you know, you can go back in time and watch it, you know. So we didn't have the cable channels. Then later on, along with the 7 channels that we had, later on, they had what they call, it was I think it was called, all the 7 channels were known, they were renamed as VHS or something like that, VHT or something, I can't remember. UHF, okay, there was VHF and UHF, okay? VHF was the regular TV that had the 7 channels that came into being. And then they had what they call UHF. And they had UHF, if I could remember UHF, these things they don't exist anymore because everything is in one package now. And they had, I think they might have had about 3 or 4 channels in my area. I don't know how it was in certain areas. You may have had 2 or 3 other channels on VHS, or UHF, and but later on, as all of that, when cable came in, cable took over, the VHF and the UHF, it was gone. So whatever was on VHF and whatever was on UHF were brought into the cable system. And the channels still exist, by the way, but it was just brought into the cable system. Now everyone is watching cable. And like I said, with all of the channels that they have, there's nothing on them. There's nothing on them. There's nothing you can find. I mean, personally, and I'm just saying that I'm just saying it for me, because I used to be a real TV buff. And when they had the black and white TVs, when you go to the movies, if you wanted to see something in color, they had what they call Technicolor. So if you went to the movies, some of the movies, most of the movies though, were black and whites. But whatever came on color, they called them Technicolor. And they had a few movies like that, even today. But that's the way it was. And the movies back in those days were like some of them short movies, but they were either black and white or Technicolor. Later on, as you already know, Ted Turner came up with the idea, let's colorize some of the old classic black and whites, which I thought was a very bad idea. I didn't even like it because the color didn't even look natural. So they colored some of the, and I can name a couple of the movies they did colorize, Ted Turner colorized. One was, I remember King Kong, I believe. King Kong was one of them because I do have a copy of that, both in black and white and in color. And the other one was, let's see, Yankee Doodle Dandy, the one with James Cagney. And they tried a few of them. And when you look at the color, how he did it, it wasn't natural color. As a matter of fact, it was like a lot of it was discolorated. Like if someone stuck out their tongue, the tongue would be green. Anyway, I was driving the point home because of the fact that it wasn't a good time for TV back in those days, but we had a lot of fun with it. It was great. It was great. But we keep moving. We have to keep reinventing ourselves as far as that goes, and we will. And we're going to continue with more of this conversation. I just thought I'd just do that up to kill a little time. But right now, I want to go over to Charlotte, North Carolina right now. Brian Camp with the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. And here he is. Brian, how are you today?
I'm doing fine. How's everybody doing? It's beautiful day today. We had lots of rain the last 2 days.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's had anything to do with that tornado that's out, but we're here. We're dry. Just heavy rains. It was coming down, but the weather was still mild, even though the weather was very rainy and sometimes rainy and very windy. Things are being knocked over, but it would still remain mild temperature. So I'm glad it's 59 degrees right now, mostly clear. But today was a pretty good day. So this is where we are. So how's everybody doing out there? Hope all is well. And let me get to the sports. We're in the middle of March Madness. It's that time of the year where if you saw the games last weekend, your mouth has been probably just open and your jaw was probably touching the ground. It was great. And, it was just fun time to watch college basketball. And, I'm glad that we are here just to just to report everything to you and everything, you know. But let me get to the sports. The NBA, New York City Mayor Eric Adams reiterated that while he remains optimistic about COVID-19 related numbers he's seeing, which are dropping, the city's professional sports teams are going to have to wait their turn as far as potential vaccination mandate rollbacks are concerned. Now that was a day or two ago. Just found out not too long ago that Kyrie Irving of the Brooklyn Nets is going to be playing. He's going to be playing, and they are going to lift it. So he's going to be playing home games. Remember before I said that that they was not allowing him to play games in New York, including Madison Square Garden, which is part of the New York City teams. There's two teams in New York. There's the Brooklyn Nets and there's the New York Knicks. So now he could play home games. He could play now, starting hopefully this weekend. So congratulations, and we're ready to rock and roll. So playoffs is coming closer, and he's going to be an integral part in his team's success going towards the playoffs, into the playoffs. But they got a lot of work to do. They really have a lot of work to do. I don't know if you've been hearing about the WNBA, where Brittany Griner is being held in Russia. She's the WNBA superstar who was caught going through the airport with some illegal drugs. But according to the U.S. Council of Officials, where they said they were able to visit her in Russia for the first time on Wednesday, and reported that she was doing well. Griner has been in custody since February 17th.
Uncover your camera. Can't see you.
Okay. Oh, you can't see me. I'm sorry.
There you go. You had it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's doing well, but she was February 17th. She was, was claimed to be on charges, and she's, attempted to smuggle vape cartridge containing Harish oil into Russia. So, this could take a while. This could be a year for them to be brought to trial. But this is how Russia operates. So right now, she's doing well. No sign of when she will be able to be released, and that's where we stand as of right now. So not much to report. Just like I said, basketball is March Madness. That's what's taking over everything right now in the world of sports. But let's get with it. March Madness. Baseball is right around the corner. Football made some big moves and some trades and free agents. So we got some warm weather coming up. So let's ready to rock and roll. So, but this day in sports, March 24th, in 1961, New York State approves a $55 million for a baseball stadium at Flushing Meadows, New York, which is Shea Stadium. Now, when the Mets were born in the year I was born in 1962, but they wasn't able to play at Shea Stadium. They didn't really have a home stadium until like 2-3 years later. So when they first started, they was playing in the Polo Grounds where the old New York Giants was playing at until their stadium was being built. But in this day, 1961, it was approved for them to build a new stadium. 1962, that's the year I was born, Emil Griffith beats Benny the Kid by TKO in the 12th round welterweight boxing title at Madison Square Garden. He beat Benny Kid. His name was Perret. He died 10 days later. It was the first use of TV slow motion replay. So that's when boxing came to having replays or instant slow motion. And fortunately, that was a fight where he did die 10 days ago after that. 1975, Muhammad Ali TKO Chuck Wepner in the 15th round for the heavyweight boxing title. And in 2020, Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe announced his postponement of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics because of the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic. That was only 2 years ago. As you know, that's going to go down in history and part of sports. So that's what happened 2 years ago, just fresh in our minds, and we're still going through this pandemic. Birthdays, Jesus Alou, one of the Alou brothers that played all three brothers in the outfield, was born in 1943 in the Dominican Republic. 1959, Ronaldo Nehemiah, born in Newark, New Jersey. 1976, Peyton Manton was born in New Orleans, Louisiana. And in 1984, Chris Bosh, former NBA basketball star, two-time NBA champion, was born in Dallas, Texas in 1984. And folks, that's sports.
You know, I remember that fight with Benny Kit Paret and Emil Griffith. I remember that fight very well. And I remember when he died, because he was beaten pretty bad.
Wow, yeah.
Pretty bad. And I think Emil Griffith at the time was very aggressive with that fight, because the story was told that Benny Kit Paret had said something to him in the ring while they were boxing, called him I don't want to use the word on the air, but it had to do with something with his sexual lifestyle. And
wow.
Yeah. And I remember that fight very well. I never forget it. I never forget. But they both,
wow.
Yeah, that was some fight.
This is why boxing no longer have 15 rounds anymore.
Yeah.
Because of things like this, and Muhammad Ali suffered from Parkinson's disease, from getting beat a lot in the head. So they cut the heavyweight championship rounds from 15 to 12. Yeah. And some bouts are, non-title bouts are 10 rounds. And they got 4 and 6 round fights for new boxers who just starting. So they changed a lot. You got to remember, back in the early 1900s and in the latter part of the 1800s, they used to fight 30 rounds or until whoever decided to quit. So back then it was very, very aggressive. It was a barbaric sport, which in some ways it still is.
And back then they didn't even use boxing gloves. They used fists.
No, they didn't. That's right. Bare fists. That's right. Yes. Boy. Yeah. I mean, if this is bad, you can imagine a UFC. That's even more dangerous.
Yeah. But boxing, I don't know how you feel about it, but boxing to me has never been the same since Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, during that era, you had great fighters. You had Muhammad Ali, you had Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Ken Norton. Yeah. It was an era of great boxing. Yeah. Even into the 80s, it was great. With Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hearns and Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran. Those are some great boxing, matches.
Muhammad Ali brought to boxing that no one else ever tried, and that was he sold the sport, because he was so flamboyant and he was so colorful. No one ever did what Muhammad Ali did. He came out and said, "I'm the greatest, and I'll beat you this, and I'll beat you that," and called he called George Foreman, not George Foreman, but Sonny
Joe Frazier.
Yeah, but he called Sonny Liston the bear, the big bear. Yeah.
And used to call Joe Frazier the big gorilla.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But he was so colorful. He brought the boxing. I guess that's why I really like boxing. I mean, I liked boxing long before that, because my favorite boxer at the time was Floyd Patterson. And then when Muhammad Ali came along, even though I still like Floyd Patterson, I still say, Muhammad Ali took that all away. I mean, everybody. Well, Muhammad Ali. I didn't really like him in the beginning when he was Cassius Clay, because he used to open up his mouth so much, and I wasn't ready. He brought something new, and I wasn't ready for that kind of delivery to boxing back then because no one ever done it. But when
Well, you know where he got that from, though? Guess where he got that flamboyancy from?
Ooh.
Wrestler Gorgeous George. Yes, that's where he got that from. Gorgeous George. You know, wrestlers, professional wrestlers used to talk.
Yeah.
You know, the famous Grand Wizard Mcmahon, you know, and Fred Blassie and Captain Lou Albano and superstar Billy Graham and Dusty Rhodes. You know, those were some fun times there growing up there, looking at these guys. And you know.
I don't know if wrestling now is like more of an entertaining sport. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not real. Although I wouldn't mess with one of those guys because these guys are built, and even though they're kidding around and everything is choreographed, I'm pretty sure if you got in a real tangle with them, they'll hurt you, they'll kill you.
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, they're taking all these here steroids to build themselves up, and you know, it's crazy.
And today they like acrobats. They didn't do it back then when they had Bruno Sammartino and Haystacks Calhoun and all of those guys. They were like, but these guys are like adding their acrobat act to the whole thing, and they're talented. It's just that.
Oh, very much so. Yes, very much so. And you know, it's an entertainment now, and
it's entertainment.
You know, it's a business, and the promoters are making a killing. Yeah.
And Vince McMahon, he's just sitting back and watching. Every once in a while, he'll appear on TV, but not as much as he did.
Oh, he don't wrestle no more, huh? Because he was a promoter, then he turned a wrestler.
Oh, he was an announcer too, remember? In the early
he was an announcer.
Announcer. And I don't even think he owned the company at the time.
No, he didn't.
He didn't own the company at the time. And it wasn't even WWF or WWE. Well, they had to change the name from WWF to WWE because of the worldwide, I think it was about the animals, the worldwide.
It was the Worldwide Wrestling Federation.
Right. But
it was
they had to change those call letters from WWF to WWE because what is the animal thing? It's the I think it's the wild. I can't remember that. I can't remember it offhand. But they had to change it. But anyway,
I know growing up there was 3 alliances. It was the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. It was the NWA and the AWA. Those were the 3. Yeah.
They had so many. Some of them went defunct, and then later on they added more. They're still adding more wrestling camps.
Yeah.
Listen, so what can we expect tomorrow?
Right now, you will see me tomorrow. Yeah, you will see me tomorrow, and I'm like 99% sure that you will see me tomorrow. You know, yes.
Okay, I look forward to that. All right.
Okay.
All right, so I will catch you back here tomorrow morning, and we'll talk more about sports.
See you then. Be safe.
Yes, all right. It's Brian Camp, ladies and gentlemen, with the latest developments in today's world of sports update. He comes here each week, and of course, you know, he delivers sports, and great conversation. I love conversation, being that I like sports too. So I guess we talk a little over time, but you know, it's always nice to talk sports. But you know, he brings back very good memories, especially with the fight with Benny Kit Paret and Emil Griffith, because I distinctively remember that fight so well. It was a fight that I never forget. And it was a somber day when he died 10 years after that fight, you know, because he got beat up pretty bad. And if you want to know any more about that fight, you should go on YouTube and check it out, or look at the history of it. A very interesting conversation. And I didn't know anything about the conversation in the ring that they had that triggered off Emil Griffith. I didn't know anything about that until maybe about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that. Because someone brought that to my attention. I said, oh no, that can't be. And then I found out to be true. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, the name of the show is called Talk Back Live. My name is Frank Allan, and I'll be with you for the balance of the show up until the top of the hour, as we're here every Thursday, and we hope that you're here every Thursday with us. And those of you who are just joining us for the very first time, we invite you to come back again and again and again, be part of us. We're here. And I would encourage all of you, if you're watching us, a lot of you may be watching us right now on YouTube. I know some people are watching us on Instagram. If you're watching us on YouTube, I want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please do that. And that would be great, because the more the merrier. And those of you who are watching us on Instagrams, I want you to follow us too each week, and then be part of the show each week. We really enjoy it. Okay, well, as you already know, ladies and gentlemen, former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright passed away yesterday. You already heard about that, right? She passed away from cancer. She was 84 years old. And what a lady she was. What a lady. She never bit her tongue for anyone. And by the way, I have to say that she was the very first female Secretary of State. The very first. And that's Madeleine Albright. She passed away again from cancer at the age of 84. Her family right now is keeping a hush-hush what type of cancer she died from and where she died. They won't say. But then again, that's the right of the family. They want to keep that quiet, but we just wanted to acknowledge that. You probably heard about it anyway, but of course, we acknowledge it too. And what do you know, ladies and gentlemen, we are celebrating Women's History Month, but we're going to talk more about that later. But right now, before we go on any further, it's that time. It's that time, ladies and gentlemen. It's this day in history. So let's get cracking right now. In this day in history, on this day in history in 1925, KSL AM in Salt Lake City, Utah begins radio transmission. On this day in history in 1939, Worthington Heights, a film based on Emily Brote's, her novel, was directed by William Wyler, and of course it starred Merrill Oberon and Laurence Olivier. It premiered in California, Los Angeles, to be more blunt about it. On this day in history, in 1941, Glenn Miller begins his work on his first movie, Sun Valley Serenade. It starred Sonia Henney and John Payne on 20th Century Fox. On this day in history, in 1945, Allies General Dwight D. Eisenhower, Bernard Montgomery, and Omar Bradley, they discuss advances in Germany. On this day in history, in 1947, John D. Rockefeller Jr. donates New York City's East River site to the UN. I don't know how that's done, but that's what it says here. On this day in history in 1955, Tennessee Williams' Cat on a Hot Tin Roof opens for 694 performances. On this day in history in 1958, Elvis Presley joins the US Army. Actually, he was drafted. On this day in history in 1962, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards performs as Little Boy Blue and Boy Blues, or Blue Boys. On this day in history in 1964, the Kennedy half dollar was issued. On this day in history in 1978, Wings released their new hit called With a Little Luck. Back in 1981, Nightline with Ted Koppel premieres on ABC. Also in 1981, Colombia drops diplomatic relations with Cuba. In 1986, the 58th Academy Awards go out to a movie called Out of Africa that's starring William Hurt and Geraldine Page. They won for that performance. On this day in history, 1987, the first Soul Train Music Awards went over to Janet Jackson and Luther Vandross. In 1989, NBC's rebroadcast Mary Martin and Cyril Richards' 1960 version of Peter Pan for the first time since 1973. back in 1997, the 69th Academy Awards, and that's the English Patient, starring Geoffrey Rush and Frances McDermott, and they won for that performance. In 1999, The Matrix, the film written and directed by the Wachowskis, starring Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, and Carrie-Anne Moss, that premiered. In 2002, the 74th Academy Awards, A Beautiful Mind, starring Denzel Washington and Halle Berry, they win for that performance. Halle Berry is the first woman of color to win for the Best Actress Award. And Steve McQueen, actor Steve McQueen, was born on this day in 1930. He was born in Beech Grove, Indiana. He passed away November 7th, 1980 at the age of 50 years old. In 1931, actress Connie Haynes, she played on Mr. Ed, and she was born in Dedham, Massachusetts. She passed away 2009. In 1936, R&B singer Don Covey was born on this day. In Orangeburg, South Carolina, he passed away 2015. And R&B singer Billy Stewart was born on this day in 1937 in Washington, D.C. He passed away 1970. Musical and musician Lee Oscar. Of course, Lee Oscar performed with a group called War. And he didn't pass away. I mean, he was born on this day in 1946. He was born in Copenhagen, Denmark, and he's 76 today. So happy birthday. He's a great guy too, great guy to know. 1951, Tommy Hilfiger. Tommy Hilfiger, you know him as the American fashion designer. He was born in Elmira, New York. He's 71 today. Actress, and I, by the way, I had this morning, did it personally. I wished her a happy birthday this morning, so I want to do it publicly. Actress Donna Pescow was born in Brooklyn, New York, my hometown. She's 68 today. She was born in 1954, of course. And Donna, if you don't know who she is, Donna Pescow played in Saturday Night Fever. And she played alongside John Travolta. She played the girl Stephanie, one of John Travolta's conquests, or vice versa. Anyway, she played in that movie. So happy birthday, Donna, and many, many more. When I wished her happy birthday this morning, I wished her a happy sweet 16. I wanted to score brownie points. Okay, actress Kelly Lebrock, who played on Weird Science. And also Woman in Red. She was born on this day in 1960 in New York City. She's 62 today. Star Jones, American attorney and legal analyst, also on NBC's Inside Edition. She was a TV host. She also was on The View between 1997 and 2006, and she was the author, of course. And she was born in Benton, North Carolina. She's 60 years old today. Happy birthday, Star. Actress Laura Flynn Boyle, who played Donna Haywood on Twin Peaks. She was born on this day in 1970, and she was born in Davenport, Iowa, and she's 52 today. Jim Parson, born on this day, actor Jim Parson, born on this day in 1973 in Houston, Texas. He's 49 years old today. Those of you who don't know who Jim Parsons is, Jim Parsons is the lead comical guy there on The Big Bang Theory, wonderful comedy. And speaking of comedy, comedian Oliver Hardy, alongside Stan Laurel of Laurel and Hardy. Oliver Hardy marries actress Myrtle Reeves back in 1921 on this day. Actress Ingrid Bergman, she gets married to Roberto Rossellini back in 1950. In 1984, Knight Rider actor David Hasselhoff, he weds One Life to Live actress Catherine Hicklin. And of course, in 1996, former Atlanta mayor of the UN, ambassador as well, Andrew, the late Andrew Young, weds Carolyn Watson in South Africa. And finally, in 1994, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. divorced his wife, Emily Black. That's this day in history. And if you happen to know something that happened on this day in history and that I didn't mention it, maybe I didn't know about it, of course, I invite you to let me know, and I will definitely put it out there as well. We thank you so much for that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, once again, if you're just joining us, the name of the show is called Talk Back Live. My name is Frank Allen, and I am with you. We've got 15 more minutes to go on the show. And just in case you're a first-time viewer of the show, don't make it your last time. Please don't do that. You know, be part of us. We always invite you to come in. And it's always a pleasure to have you aboard with us. And of course, I already mentioned that we're always celebrating something too. We want to acknowledge as well, with all the beautiful women, God's gift to men. I have to say that. I adore women, I love them. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't be here. And so with that being said, we want to say a happy Women's History Month. We're still in the midst of it all. And we celebrate women because women have done some fantastic things. Back in the old days, they did too. They just never acknowledged it. And today, it's even more. Because now they're working these prestigious jobs, what they couldn't do before back in the old days, that they're doing now. They're in big positions. Oh, they're all over the place. They're doctors, they're lawyers. If they're in the movie industries, they're directors. They're owners. Look at Oprah Winfrey. Now, if that's not powerful, what is? If that's not a powerful woman, I don't know a powerful woman more powerful than Oprah Winfrey. But there are women like that, and there will be more women to follow in her footsteps in those positions. She owns, you know, her own company, she has her own TV station, and so that's a good example. That's a good example of powerful women. And women are powerful, and if they didn't reach where they want to be as of yet, and they're young, they will. I see young women today, they're growing up, they're studying, they want to be a lot of things. They want to be doctors, they want to be lawyers, they want to be teachers. And they want to do that. They want to be entrepreneurs, and a lot of them are. And some at a young age. Can you imagine if they could do that at a young age? What happens later on when they get older? They'll have their own businesses. I want to send out a shout out to the late Sylvia. Sylvia owns Sylvia's Restaurant. She's no longer with us, but the family holds stock in it now. And so there's another powerful woman. And I met her, as a matter of fact, I had a chance to sit in her restaurant and have a chat with her long before she passed away. So, you know, women are doing a lot of great things. And if you know of a woman right now, as we speak, that's doing some fantastic things and she should be acknowledged, I want to do it right now. I want to do it right now. All you have to do is let me know, hit me up on the big screen right there. I'll watch you. I'll watch you there on Instagram. I'll watch you there on YouTube, and I'll see you coming up. And of course, I will acknowledge that. So just type it in. Just type it in and let me know. But again, we're celebrating. We're in the midst of Women's History Month. And you know something, to be honest with you, that's something we should celebrate like every day of our lives. It's just like you have all of the other things that we had. We had Black History Month in February, last month. We had Black History Month. It shouldn't be a month. Black History Month should be celebrated every day. Women's History Month should be celebrated every day. Hispanic Heritage Month should be celebrated every day. And everything that everybody is celebrating should be celebrated every day. So we don't forget. We don't need a month. We don't need one particular month out of a year to acknowledge all of these things. We should do it every day. And we should, and we will. We really should, and we really will. So that's it. Also, ladies and gentlemen, want to let you know, those of you who own pooches, you own a pooch? Okay, what I mean by a pooch, a little puppy, right? You own a little puppy. I love puppies. I love puppies. Golden retrievers are one of my favorites, along with the Saint Bernard, the English sheepdog, and the Chow, the Chinese Chow. And I love dogs. I love them. Anyway, I just brought that out just to say that this Sunday is National Puppy Sunday. It's National Puppy Sunday. National Puppy Day on Sunday. This Sunday, National Puppy Day. And who knows, maybe someone will start a parade for puppies. Maybe they'll have like a lot of, I don't know, events for puppies. And I hope it's a bright sunny day for wherever you are, and you could go out and show your puppy, take your puppy for a walk. I don't own a puppy per se, because I want to make sure before I do that, that I really have time, because they acquire a lot of attention, just like little babies. And it's unfair to own a puppy if you're not going to take care of it, if you're not going to give your undivided attention, if you're not going to put it to the work that goes in owning a puppy or a dog, or any animal for that matter. You know, you want to make sure that you have the time for that. So anyway, this Sunday is National Puppy Day. National Puppy Day. Woof, woof, woof. Okay. Okay, and we look forward to that. We look forward to that. Okay, let's see. I want to talk about the movies. Now, you guys, what do you guys know about those classic movies? I told you early in the show that the reason, I give you two reasons why I like it, because I want to be part of your entertainment for the weekend. You know, just to let you know what you can find on the movies. And a lot of people do like classic movies. I like them. You like them. We all like them. And each week, of course, I always bring them to you. Now, these are my picks of the week for the weekend. They're only my picks. Now, there are more, and you can check it out yourself. So let's get started right now. I'm going to go back to 1970. Those of you remember Woodstock? Okay, now that's music. That's all music. You like music? Okay, I brought that out. 1970, it doesn't go way back there, but 1970, Woodstock was released. Now, it was actually 1969 when they had the outdoor concert. It was an outdoor rock concert in Woodstock, New York. And they made it into a movie, and you can watch it this coming Saturday on Turner Classic Movies, but it's going to be at 1:30 a.m. Saturday morning. That's Friday night into Saturday. All right. And if you can't watch it, or you don't want to stay up that late, or you don't want to wake up that early, whatever the case may be, you might want to DVR it. Remember, you can DVR, and I'll tell you, it's on Turner Classic Movies Saturday at 1:30 a.m. Eastern for us. All right, so check your guide and make sure it's right for you, and you can DVR and check it out at that particular time. Okay, you have Casablanca in 1942 with Humphrey, Bogart, Ingrid, Bergman. And that comes on Turner Classic Movies too. That's on Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern. You can have breakfast or brunch and watch it at the same time. Again, if you don't have time to watch it at that time, of course, you can DVR it. Again, that's Casablanca, Humphrey, Bogart, and Ingrid Bergman. That's Saturday, Turner Classic Movies at 11 a.m. Eastern. Here's another classic, 1950, with Betty Davis and Ann Baxter. One called All About Eve. Yeah, here's a classic back in 1950. You can check that out on Turner Classic Movies. You can check that out on Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Maybe you're off to church or something. Again, DVR it. Watch it at another time, but it's a classic. You like it. And here's something that everybody likes. It's a little long, but everybody knows about it. It's called Gone with the Wind, back in 1939. And that was Clark Gable and Vivian Leigh together on that. And you could watch that. That comes on Sunday on Turner Classic Movies. And that's on at 4 p.m. Eastern. It's a long movie. It's a long movie, but you'll enjoy it. It's a classic. Gone with the Wind, 1939. Clark Gable, Vivian Leigh, Turner Classic Movies, Sunday at 4 p.m. And those are my picks of the week for Turner Classic Movies. please, if you like those movies, I'm pretty sure you like the other ones that are on, and you can do that. I may not have mentioned them, but these are only my picks of the week, but there are more. All you have to do is go to Turner Classic Movies and just follow the guide. Look at the guide, go scroll through the guide, and you might find something else that you might like, and you want to put it on your bucket list of watching the movies for the weekend. And all of these movies, by the way, they will not overlap. They're not going to overlap. So the ones I just told you about, you could watch them in succession. They don't overlap each other. I purposely do it that way so you can watch them in its full glory. Also, if you want more entertainment, you can go on, if you have cable, you can go on Movie on Demand. Please, you can do that. Movie on Demand. All you have to do is go there and you'll see all of the movies. There are a lot of movies on demand. Just go down. I went on Movie on Demand just to check out some of the movies that are available this month. Sometimes they leave it up there for months and then they take them down and put new ones up there. But classics, they're all good movies. You can check it out, Movie on Demand. And all while you're on demand, you can go on some of the networks. If you like Lifetime movies, you can go on the Lifetime Movie Network, and all of those CBS, ABC, NBC, they have all the networks there. If you like sports like I do, especially wrestling, depending on what time or what channel the sports come on, you can watch it in real time. If you can't watch it in real time, you can watch the rebroadcast and you can watch it on demand. Simple as that. So get a chance to do that. Okay, here are the movies once again. I'll repeat them one more time for your benefit. We start with Woodstock, 1970, and that's the outdoor concert that made into a movie back in 1969. That's on Turner Classic Movies on Saturday at 1:30 a.m. Eastern. Casablanca with Humphrey, Bogart, and Ingrid Bergman, and that's Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern on Turner Classic Movie. All About Eve with Betty Davis and Ann Baxter. And that's Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern on Turner Classic Movie. And finally, Gone with the Wind with Clark Gable and Vivian Leigh, Turner Classic Movie, Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Now, Sunday is a good time for Gone with the Wind to come on because that's late in the afternoon and you're about to have dinner, or maybe you're just finishing dinner and you just want to relax. And that'll take you, that long movie will take you up to your early evening hours. Check it out. Okay, so there you go. You have all of those classic movies for you. Don't say I wasn't nice enough to give them to you. Okay, while we're at it, we want to say, give those prayers. I got to say this, and I'll say this every day until this war is over. You know, we have a war in Ukraine, which is fostered by people over there in Russia. Vladimir Putin, nice guy, huh? Anyway, he's running scared, by the way. He's in desperation right now, you know, because the Ukraine is so strong. They're not giving up. He wants them to surrender, but you know, the more he says that, the more they pour it on. So I want to give my best wishes out to the people in Ukraine. I'm so sorry. We lost a lot of our strong men, women, and children in that fight. It didn't have to be. They did. We lost it. It's a war zone over there. And we lost a lot of young babies and children and women and men. And for what? For what? And do they care about it? No, they'll keep bombing. They just keep bombing away. They don't care about human life. But this is what it is. And so we got to keep our prayers up and at them and make sure that everything is okay and that we send our prayers out to them. Okay, now as far as Facebook is concerned, I want to quickly say this. We're not on Facebook Live, but this broadcast will be posted on Facebook. We've got 37 days left before we go back online. We're in Facebook jail. What they did, they don't give us any kind of excuse on what happened or why we are in jail. Just throw on the orange jumpsuit and get right in there and stay there until we let you out. But again, this program will be posted right there on Facebook right after the show is over. And by the way, it's over right now. So we're going to wish you guys a very, very good evening. Listen, we want you to check us out tomorrow morning. We'll be here for the coffee hour. Brian Kemp will be here with the latest developments in today's world of sports. DJ Pete with entertainment news, although he won't be here tomorrow, so we'll be filling in for him. That's tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on Facebook, YouTube, and on Instagram as well. Other than that, you can check me out on next week, right here, more Talk Back Live, right here. And Brian Camp will be here with sports as well. And we'll have a good time. Guys, have a great morning, a great evening, and a great afternoon, and a great night to each and every one.
You've been watching Talk Back Live with your host, Frank Allen. The producer is Al Dale, technical assistance Dave Taylor, research by Sandy Pierce, and I'm your announcer, Donna Stanky. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Talk Back Live.